Hello, guys. Welcome to our channel. Just sit back, relax, and laugh with us as we talk about random and sometimes hilarious topics. If you're new to our channel, please don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on our new episodes. Thank you. Welcome to JK All Day.
This is
This
Jay.
is Kay.
Welcome back. Today's topic is gonna be dun 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 about insecurities.
Okay.
Would you consider yourself an insecure person?
First, I think we need to define ano bang insecurities. I think insecurities, they have an underlying cause. Oo. Like,
Mhm.
I think yung root niya, nagsistem siya from our fears.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm an insecure person, but I do have my insecurities.
Yeah, I think everybody has insecurities,
Oo.
and I think that's normal.
Oo.
I think there are people who tend to be more insecure kasi than others.
I would say I have improved. I was way
Okay.
more insecure before. Like during our previous episode, I think I mentioned it already. I think I mentioned that I was a people pleaser.
Mhm.
I think that stemmed from the fact or the fear that people may not like me.
Yeah, and basically, it all comes from the fear of not being accepted.
Oo. Especially when you're younger. When, ano mo
Mm-hmm.
yon, uso yung mga barka-barkada. Kung wala kang
A
friends,
lot of
parang
times,
ang loser mo, ganon.
a lot of times, parang it's during one's teenage years. I think that's part of it na yung changes mo rin physically, di ba? You grow insecure about kung ano-ano.
Pero I think for me, yung fear of not being accepted, I think it started way before that. Umabot siya ng teenage years, of course, pero it started younger pa.
But can you still pinpoint around what age and what could possibly, have triggered it or
Iniisip ko nga
something?
ngayon, iniisip ko kung what could have possibly triggered it. Because I grew up in a loving family naman. Dahil people pleaser nga ako, I worked hard then for my grades. Kasi I know that makes my parents happy. It makes me happy that
Mhm.
they're happy.
So yung pagiging people pleaser mo, hindi siya yung parang adult years na. As
Oo.
in, even when you were a kid.
Kaya nga nung nangyari yung mga
Okay.
ghosting na yon, I think kaya ganun kalakas yung effect sa akin. Kasi nga, yung time na yon, I was a people pleaser. Like, hindi ko matanggap kung merong may ayaw sa akin. Parang ganun.
Oh, pero medyo baliktad nga tayo kasi
Pero when I was younger, insecure ako sa height ko. I was taller than the average kid. So, I felt na because I
okay.
was taller than them, they didn't really like me. So, I would walk with my
Uh-huh.
back hunched.
Parang usual yan. Di ba? Parang common
Oh,
yan
pero
sa
hindi ko alam
mga
kung ganun yung reason nila. Pero
taller
for me,
people.
ganun. Kasi
Growing
nga, yung fear na hindi ka accepted.
Oo. And 'di ba kasi parang kids make a big deal out of
Oo,
these
yeah,
things eh.
oo.
Kaya nga may mga nabubully. Basically, these are normal things. Pero
Yeah.
syempre, as a child, you don't really know better. So,
Mm-mm.
you make a
Hindi
big deal
naman
out of
ako
yung mga
na-bully or
ganun stuff.
anything for my height. Pero,
Pero, walang external factor in terms of yung issue mo with being taller than the rest of the kids. Yun nga, as you said, wala naman
yeah.
nang bubuli sa'yo, pero still, you
It
were
was
insecure
only
about
like,
it.
kailan ba? I
Mhm.
think yung high school, yung pag-graduate na, tapos magka-college na, tapos parang yung people started saying nga, parang naiingit nga sila kasi ang tangkad ko daw, ganyan-ganyan. Parang ako, oo nga naman. Parang, bakit ba ako napaka-insecure about my height before?
Baka kasi this was the time na parang sa age ka na sumali ng beauty pageant.
Mamaya isipin
And
na sumali ako ng beauty
advantage na siya
pageant.
for you.
Hindi,
Opo,
pero
sumali
ayun.
po talaga siya.
Actually, sumali ako. Hindi.
Sumali po siya sa Little Miss Philippines.
Ayun. Pero yun nga, bata pa naman ako noon.
What insecurities? Yun nga, as a kid, wala masyado. I couldn't think of anything. Siguro nga kasi same as you. I grew up in a loving family, and especially my mom, very supportive naman siya. Hindi siya yung very critical na parent. So, wala naman nag-trigger during that time for me to be insecure about anything. And inisip ko kasi parang, di ba yung mga kids, normally naman, nagkakaroon ng mga ganong insecurities when you're compared to other kids or to your siblings maybe. Well, I'm not so sure pero I think na pag 8 years old and younger, wala ka pa masyadong concept of physical beauty. So, you're not too
You're not too concerned?
yeah. Pero feeling ko dati lang to, masyado pa tayong innocent before. Feeling
Actually.
ko yung mga 8 years old and younger ngayon, hindi na same. Di ba? Pero yun yung naisip ko kasi parang for a kid to be insecure at such a young age, minsan kasi it's because nako-compare siya ng parents niya with either his or her own siblings or yung
Actually,
anak ni
even
ganito.
it doesn't have to be direct. Pwedeng narinig lang niya na nakikipagtsikahan yung mom niya sa mom ng kung sino man, like classmate niya or what. 'Di ba? May effect dun sa bata yun eh.
Mm. Or maybe pag feeling mo parang hindi ka pinagmamalaki siguro sa iba. 'Di ba? Hindi kasi 'di ba usually meron tayong mga biruan na wala ka sa tatay ko. I think doon nagsimula yung joke na yun eh. Yung hindi, wala ka sa tatay ko, ganyan-ganyan. Kasi nga, di ba, parang lahat naman ng tao, meron tayong tendency na buhatin yung sarili nating bangko. Parang in a way, it's to show na you're proud of your own. So just the fact maybe na hindi mo na experience na parang pinagmamalaki ka to other people, it's possible then na it could stem from that. As an adult, I think it's very common, syempre physical. Tingin ko lahat naman ng tao may physical insecurity. It's either masyado ka mataba or you're not pretty enough. But the good thing naman is, hindi kasi ako ganun ka-insecure. I mean, I have those insecurities, but not naman to the point na it affects me. Like, okay, there are just some bad days na iisip mo yung mga insecurities na yun. But majority
where
of the
did that
time,
stem
parang
from?
okay
From
lang
fear
naman,
of
wala
what?
lang. Fear of not having a boyfriend. hindi kasi syempre, di ba? Syempre, pag nasa teenage years ka na, yun na yung time na may mga crush ka na, ganyan. So, parang feeling mo, pag hindi ka maganda, hindi ka magugustuhan ng crush mo. Yung mga ganun, medyo mababaw siya. Pero, tingin ko, karamihan naman yun yung reason na parang feeling mo, ay naku, parang hindi ako maganda, hindi ako masyado payat, na parang hindi ako magugustuhan ng crush ko. So, syempre, as you grow older pa, dala-dala mo rin yun na parang feeling mo yung physical beauty kasi, parang malaking factor siya dahil it's the first thing people see. 'Di ba? Even if you have a wicked sense of humor or you're smart or whatever, yung
That's the
physical
first thing, yeah. That's the first thing that
that's
people
still
see.
what people
Before
see
you can
first.
even dazzle them with your with
So,
your
even,
charms.
like, di ba,
They
before
look
you
at your
even
mouth.
open your mouth to say anything,
They will not listen
and
to
if your
you.
mouth is not pretty, di ba? Joke time, pero you know what I mean. Yun, I'm sure lahat naman ng tao may insecurity one way or another, even if celebrity ka pa, or even if
Meron pa
you're
rin
one of the
talaga.
prettiest
Meron
girls
pa rin talaga.
in town. So, I guess, it comes to a point where you realize na wala rin talaga kasing basis yung mga ganong klaseng insecurities. Dahil kung ang concern mo is comparing yourself to another person who may be more beautiful than you, then even the most beautiful girl you know will be comparing herself to another girl who would
Wala siyang
probably be more
katapusan.
beautiful than her. And then, di ba, hindi
Kasi,
siya matatapos talaga.
the truth of the matter is,
Oo.
there will always be somebody who's better than you.
Yes. And you have to accept that that's just the way
Yeah.
life is, di ba? So, just be grateful kung ano yung meron ka. And then,
Yeah.
i-hone mo na lang, like, halimbawa, skill-wise, kasi yun din yung isa ko sigurong insecurity kung meron man. When you compare yourself to others and then you feel na, halimbawa, in terms of arts, you feel na they are more creative. Nakaka-insecure siya kasi feeling mo
Mhm.
skill-wise, parang you're not at par with them. But yun na nga, again, the reality is kahit anong
Yep.
galing pa niya, meron pa rin mas magaling sa kanya. So, wala, chill ka lang. Ano na lang, learn to
Yeah.
accept kung ano yung strengths mo and weaknesses mo. Kasi that goes naman for everybody. Hindi lang naman ikaw. Lahat naman tayo
Yeah, and
may
if you can
ganong
work on your
struggles.
weaknesses, which is usually the case naman, then you work on it. For me, there is one insecurity na hanggang ngayon, dala-dala ko pa. Which is, yung fear nga of not being good enough. And when I say good enough, hindi siya yung good as in good person na. Parang in general. Like, not being smart enough or not being kind enough.
Mhm. Pero mahirap yun.
Yeah. Pero for me,
Parang
I think,
mahirap siyang
oo,
i-address.
I think yung majority ng akin is not being smart enough. Being a good person, siguro.
What do you mean when you say being
Smart,
smart? Smart in what way? Like academically smart
ah,
or
kasi diba, there
smart
is a
sa
difference between
buhay?
intelligence and wisdom. For me, I think both.
How has those insecurities affected you or your life?
Related kasi sa akin lahat, kung mapapansin mo, like
Mhm.
people pleaser. So, I worked hard, di ba, for my grades kasi nga, I want my parents to be happy. I want them to be proud of me. Which they are naman. They didn't really tell me naman, kailangan mag-honor
Mhm.
ka para may announce namin sa buong barangay na
Yeah.
may honor ka. Hindi naman. They didn't really say that. Ako lang, sa sarili ko lang. Parang, because I had that insecurity, that's why, well, I have very high standards for myself. And I don't take it lightly pag nagkakamali ako. Or when I do
Mhm.
something na I think I could have done better. Or when I did something and then I know that I could have done better.
So in short, you're very critical of
Yeah,
yourself.
oo.
Like you don't need somebody
I'm my
else
worst
to
critic.
criticize you.
And at the same time, parang dahil I have these impossibly high standards for myself, hindi ko ganun ka na-tolerate yung mga tao na they don't really do their best. Alam mong kaya nila, pero for some reason, parang 50% na yung binibigay nila.
Okay. Nakakatakot ka maging boss.
Hindi, kasi
You can do
parang,
better
parang
than that.
nasasayangan ako sa potential eh. Like, sabihin natin, for example, I write, di ba? But I am far from
Mm.
being like a good writer. Maybe an average writer or maybe a bad writer. Depends on who you ask. Pero, if, like, for example, if I see somebody na parang wow na wow talaga ako sa writing skills niya and then itong person na to, wala siyang ginagawa to share that skill to the world or something. I don't know. Parang
Okay,
nasasayangan
okay, okay.
ako.
Nasasayangan ka. You have all this
Oo,
potential
parang
and then you're
ganon.
just keeping it to
Nasasayangan
yourself.
ako. Pero it's not like magasabihan ko naman itong person na to or what. It's just
Mm.
that you have it. Why aren't you using it or using it more?
Well, I guess it's a matter of confidence din. Kasi you may not be able to see your own potential, but somebody else na who aspires to be you,
Hindi mo
na-appreciate
nakikita.
nila. Pero ikaw, hindi mo
Yeah,
nakikita.
probably.
May napanood ako na sabi niya na parang the problem with you is you don't know how to take compliments. The next time somebody compliments you, just take their word for it.
Dahil nabanggit mo yan, I think because of my insecurity, I find it hard to take compliments din. Kasi for me nga, I'm not good enough. So why are you complimenting
Mm.
me?
Yun nga. So the next time somebody compliments you, just take their word for it and then feel good about yourself. Yun yung sabi dun.
Totoo.
Which, oo nga naman, totoo. Pero ang hirap nga niyan. Ang hirap niyan kasi imagine if you're trying to talk somebody out of negative thoughts or feelings. But when the problem is yung sa sarili nilang standards or sarili nilang expectations of themselves,
For me,
it's so hard to talk somebody out of it.
I struggled with it. Like, not as much now. Although, may kita mo pa rin minsan with the way I do things. And I think, I think nakita mo na to. You've seen glimpses of it. But I really struggled with it. Yung dating D group leader ko kasi, perfectionist din siya. And then she gave me advice na she read something nga daw na basta binigay mo na yung 100% mo, even though it's hard for perfectionist, kailangan mong i-let go na. Parang wag mo nang masyadong isipin. Kasi binigay mo naman na yung makakaya mo. Kung nakuha mo man yung result na gusto mo or hindi, dapat wala kang regrets. Kung ano ka na lang, kung hindi mo
Tama.
nagustuhan yung result, which is 99% the case, galingan mo na lang sa sunod. At least you learn something from it.
What's done is done. Kumbaga, at a certain degree, you have to let go na rin and move on.
So,
na parang, just do better the
hearing
next
that
time.
really helped. Ganoon lang naman. Kasi, kaya nga, nung medyo nabawas-bawasan na yung insecurity ko, parang, more on nag-focus na lang ako sa becoming a better version. Alam ko, gasgas na yon na parang, oh, you should become a better. Pero, it really works for me. Na I'm resolved to be better than I was yesterday, to know more today than I did yesterday.
Your only competition is yourself. As long as you are a better person than you were last year,
And
then that's
kasi
improvement
before,
in itself.
Diba,
tingin ko that's also something as a parent, no? As a parent, that's something you can address to make your children secure din with themselves, na parang they don't really have to compare themselves with yung maybe classmates nila who are doing better than them in school. Kasi as long as you keep learning and you keep honing whatever skill you have, then just keep
sabi ni Dory,
just keep swimming nga, sabi nga. So, kung mahina ka sa isang bagay, then i-explore mo, is this something na you can improve on or is it something you can learn? Kung hindi talaga,
And
I'm sure
syempre,
there's a lot of
mo,
other things you
lahat
can
ng tao
try.
sa mundo na to, we all have different skills, different strengths. Hindi naman porket, magaling ka mag-drawing, lahat ng tao magaling mag-drawing. Hindi naman ganun. Or porket ang galing niya sumayaw, kailangan magaling ka rin sumayaw. It's not like that.
Oo.
May kanya-kanya lang tayong specialties.
Yes. We all have our strengths and we all have our weaknesses.
To glorify God. Yun yung pinaka-importante sa lahat.
Yes. Anong verse yun?
Galing-galingan mo, Besh. Makatawagan
Siyempre,
tayo
hindi
ng
ko memorize.
church.
Ako pa, napakahina ako sa ganyan. Di ba sabi sa verse, sa 2 Corinthians 12, verse 9, He said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in your weakness.
Yes.
So, paano nga ma-exhibit ni God yung power niya kung ang galing-galing natin? Na hindi natin siya kailangan, di ba? Mas malaki yung impact when you see somebody who has all these kinds of insecurities and then when that person is used by God to do great things for His kingdom, then we will all realize na parang it's really by the grace of God. Kasi lalo na pag kilala mo yung tao na yun and you know how insecure that person is or you know na hindi naman siya, halimbawa, public speaking. Alam mo, sobrang masikain siya, sobrang insecure siya, lalo na pag may malaking crowd. Tapos, pag nag-speak siya sa harap ng napakaraming tao, that's really by God's grace. Para ma-overcome mo yung lahat ng fears and insecurities mo, di ba? Bottom line talaga is, we should learn to accept our flaws and all. And just be grateful for, kasi I'm sure naman, lahat naman tayo, gifted with something. We're definitely good at something. Maybe not the same as that person that you admire, that you wanted to be like. Pero for sure, you are great at something. So, find out what that is and then keep working on that,
Agree.
'di ba? Instead of focusing on how you're lacking, just find out what you're good at and then use that to your advantage. So how can we overcome these insecurities, and how do we use it to our benefit instead?
I like the part where I learn something new every day. Kasi yun talaga na-enjoy ko yun. I really enjoy learning and be good at everything I do. Parang ganun. If etong love for learning ko, if it stemmed from my fear of not being good enough, not being smart enough, then may maganda naman siyang naidulot. So in a sense, it's both a
Mhm.
bad thing and a good thing. Right? It's a double-edged sword kasi parang napupush ako eh, 'di ba? Pero ang ayoko lang doon sa fear
Mhm.
na 'yon is yun nga, parang sobrang taas ng standards ko sa sarili ko na sometimes parang, or most of the time, hindi naman nare-reach. Kasi nga, impossibly high
Mhm.
standards nga. So, medyo binabaan ko naman lately,
Okay.
besh. Medj lang.
Yung paan mo na yun is
Ah,
sobrang taas pa
hindi pa
rin
rin siya
technically.
pang, I don't think it's average still.
Is
Oo
it
naman.
humanly
Oo
possible to
naman.
achieve?
So yung part na yon I like. Pero
Okay,
ayoko
sige.
yung part na you let that fear, yun nga, yung consume you. Kasi once you let it consume you, parang it will
Mhm.
stop you from doing the things that you like. For example, if you think that you're not good at
Yeah.
writing, for me, for example, if I think or if I allowed myself to wallow in self-pity, na parang, ay, hindi ako magaling magsulat. So, hindi na ako magsulat. 'Di ba? I'm not gonna be able to write stories, and now I'm writing a
Mhm.
novel pa, which I don't know if it will be published. But anyway,
Mhm.
that's another topic. Um, pero if I let it overtake, if I let the fear like overtake yung desire ko nga to write, and then wala talaga akong magagawa. Wala akong magagawa sa buhay ko. I think yun naman yung
Mhm.
danger. Once that you have those fears, yun talaga yung danger eh, na you let it consume you. So I was just lucky enough that I was able to meet
Mhm.
yun nga mga tao na who helped me transform that fear into an opportunity or to suppress that fear so that I can get out of my own head.
Yeah.
Yun.
Totoo
I think
naman.
I think yun naman yun ang mabibigay ko na like if somebody asks for advice like how to overcome this, overcome that. I think depende rin kasi talaga sa tao yun eh.
Mhm.
And depende rin of course sa fear mo, but bottom line is you should not let these things consume you. Kasi ano yun, nagpatalo ka na before you even started, 'di ba? Parang you
Yeah,
just
you haven't
accepted
even
defeat.
tried.
Sabihin natin you tried and then you did not achieve what you wanted the first try, diba? So you try again. And then you try again. I think the point there is you try and you exhaust all possibilities para ma-achieve mo yung kung ano man yung gusto mong ma-achieve. And
Mhm.
then maybe kung wala pa rin talaga after I don't know
Mhm.
how many years na, then maybe it's time to let it go and then find something else na you're good at or you're gonna be good with, or focus yourself on doing working towards something that's more achievable, 'di ba? And then work your way up
Mhm.
na lang. Like for example, instead of having like this really big goal for yourself, pwede ka naman gumawa ng small goals towards that pa din if you still
Mhm.
want. Kasi you never know eh. Maybe sa journey mo towards that big goal, you find something else that you're interested in and that you're actually good at. 'Di ba? So medyo malilihis ka. But then by the time that happens, naka-gain ka na ng experience,
Mhm.
and I think that's a win pa din. That's a win in my book. Ayun.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, ikaw naman.
For me, try to pinpoint kung ano-ano yung mga insecurities mo. Usually naman insecurities are yung weaknesses natin eh. Try to identify them and then think of how you can improve on them. Be realistic din naman while you're assessing if yung improvement ba is possible. Are the improvements that you thought of doable in terms of yung capacity mo or yung capability mo. then as you mentioned, keep trying, do your best. But if you don't achieve what you're trying to achieve, tanggapin mo na this might not be for you kasi. But for me, you can keep trying. But at the end, kung talagang you tried and you did your best and then parang hindi talaga, then you have to surrender din na parang, okay, maybe this is not for me. Find something else that you can, spend your time on, and most likely, di ba?
Yeah.
Baka
And I
doon ka
think it's
kasi, baka
important to
doon ka
mention din
magaling.
na you should pray about it. Kasi maybe kaya naman siya
Mm-mm.
hindi nag-workout is because hindi talaga yun yung plan ni God for you.
Mm.
He definitely has a better plan for you na hindi mo pa nakikita. And ask Him for clarity or for strength na rin kung gusto niya na i-let go mo talaga kung ano man yung ginagawa mo.
Another thing is, di ba, insecurity
Yeah.
stems from fear. Fear of not being good enough. Basically, you're afraid that people won't be able to accept you for who you really are or what you can offer. But then, remember, to God, you are enough because
Yes.
He made you, and in Him, you are complete. So whenever somebody tells you you're not good enough, or in your head, if you keep thinking that you're not good enough for whoever, just remember that kung sino yung gumawa sa'yo. 'Di ba?
Kasi, di ba, you may not be a good enough singer, but you may be an exceptional dancer. Naman kailangan may karugtong yun
Wow!
Para, yun nga, kasi we're all made to be
Mm-mm.
unique from each other. Isipin mo naman kung lahat tayo pare-pares, diba napaka-boring naman nun?
I have a bonus question. If you so happen to know somebody who is severely insecure, it could be about anything, Kasi what we're discussing is feeling ko parang more on insecure about skill Pero what if may kilala ka na severely insecure about everything and it's affecting their relationships? How can you support this friend and how can you reassure this friend na she or he is good enough? What are the practical ways we can do to help them?
Well, parang ang hirap naman ito, besh. I would examine the situation. Wow. No, I would ask, I
Doc?
would talk to this friend kung sa ano ba yung pinanggagalingan ng insecurities niya, di ba? Kasi like we said before, that insecurities are basically our fears. So, tatanungin ko muna sa kanya. Like,
Yeah.
I would like to get to the bottom of it first. Ano magagamutin ng isang bagay kung hindi mo alam kung ano yung root cause niya? So, for me, tatanungin ko muna sa kanya.
Oo,
like,
tama.
kung alam ba niya, kung saan ang galing, what triggered it, ganun. And then, we will work through that. You give them words of affirmation din naman. And if they're not Christians yet, I would introduce them to God. Kasi that really helped me. I think that was the one thing that was missing to me when I had all of those like insecurities when I was younger, was that I was a Christian but I didn't have a personal relationship with God. So, sabihin natin yung fear niya is nobody loves him or her. Kailangan mo i-assure sa kanya na kahit anong mangyari, God loves you. Kahit anong mangyari, God loves you. And don't ever think na, yun nga, that you're not enough kasi He created you. The creator of the universe chose you.
Yeah.
Diba? You, not them. You.
Yes. You.
No, pero I think kasi yung words of affirmation, it really helps Kasi maybe they've never heard it all their lives, diba?
Oo.
Or maybe ang narinig lang nila buong buhay nila is, ang tanga mo. Or ba't ka ganyan? Hindi ka ba marunong? Hindi. We need to spread yung, positive words.
Singit ko lang, that's so true kasi we may not know the struggle of the people around us. Most especially if it's friends. Like, friends na hindi mo kilala yung, for example, yung family. You don't know kung anong klaseng family yung pinagmumulan niya. And you don't know kung encouraging ba yung pinanggalingan niya. The best we can do really is just to keep reassuring and keep encouraging. Huwag tayong mapagod siguro to
Yeah,
keep
and to keep
encouraging
praying
them.
for them
Dahil
din.
maybe that's all they need.
And, pero it's a different thing pag, for example, kasi may mga taong ayaw mag-share eh. Parang you can clearly see that they're struggling. You can clearly
Oo.
see that maybe they're depressed or hindi nga sila okay ng family niya. But ayaw niya, for some reason or the other, ayaw talaga niya mag-open up sa'yo. I think pag gano'n, the best thing that you can do is really just to check in regularly sa kanya.
But paano yun? The fact nga na halimbawa, this person is not talking about yung problems niya at home, then probably yun yung insecurity niya. Not having a safe home, a safe environment. Wala siyang loving and encouraging family
If that's the
na
case, then
support
you can be that
system.
family to this person.
So, it takes a certain level of sensitivity then for everybody. Pakiramdaman mo, observe them, and then tignan mo kung nasaang aspect siya
Mm-mm.
parang
Kasi
kung saang
maybe
aspect niya
they
parang
think that
kailangan.
sharing these vulnerabilities to you para mag-iba yung tingin mo sa kanya. 'Di ba? So, you just have to consistently make him or her feel comfortable enough na walang judgments from you. Kahit ano pang sabihin niya sa'yo,
Yeah, oo.
walang judgments na manggagaling sa'yo.
So, if you're a Christian, if you're a
Yeah.
believer, you know what's the best thing to do. To
But
introduce
Christian
them
or not, I think
to
yun talaga,
Jesus.
yung the best thing you can do for your friend or loved one who is struggling is just to be there for them and to let them know that they're not alone and don't judge them. I know it
Keep
can get
reaching out.
tiring.
Don't get
I
tired.
know, my gosh.
Oo, kasi I feel nga na, I can
Yeah.
imagine na parang it gets exhausting when you keep trying to help somebody and then you feel na
Mm.
this person is not
Mm.
even trying to help themselves to get out of that.
Yeah.
It gets tiring and it gets frustrating. But let's not tire.
So good
And
lang.
let's
So good lang
yeah,
mga
and let's
besh.
keep reaching out.
Yun lang.
Mm.
If
Salamat
anybody
isip.
out there is experiencing like these insecurities or you just need somebody to talk to, maybe who's a stranger, kasi I find that it's easier to talk to strangers sometimes kasi they don't know your history. Hindi nila alam yung hindi rin nila alam yung players involved.
Less
So if
judgment.
you find the need or like just want to talk to us, our hotline is no. Feel free to feel free to send us an email sa jkallday0821@gmail.com and we will reply.
Yes. Yes
So,
lang yung nasabi.
thank you so much for joining us in this kind of heavy topic. So, till next time, this is JK All Day.
Signing off. Bye, guys.
Bye.